My brother got my wife pregnant, and then I inherited everything after he died. Sounds fake, right? I wish it was. But this isn't some clickbait headline. This is my life. A life ripped apart by the two people I trusted the most. My name is Ayan, and what I'm about to tell you is going to sound like a Netflix drama. But every second of it happened. The betrayal, the lies, the heartbreak, and then, the twist no one saw coming. I wasn't always this cold. Once upon a time, I believed in love. In family. I believed my little brother David was my best friend. We grew up together, shared a room, shared dreams. Yeah, he was always the loud one, the charming one. I was the quiet fixer, the guy who stayed behind, cleaned up after his messes, and let him take the spotlight. And I was fine with that, until he stole everything from me, starting with my wife. I met Alina when I was 27. She was warm, elegant, the kind of woman who made you feel like home wasn't a place, it was a person. We got married after 2 years of dating, and I thought, truly thought, I had made it. We bought a small house, started planning for a future. I was working late hours, trying to save up, always thinking, once things settle, we'll take that vacation, we'll start a family. But while I was out building a future, my brother was in my house, destroying it. It started small. David would drop by when I was at work, saying he missed his Bobby, like it was cute. Alina said it was harmless. He's just lonely, she'd say. And maybe he was. His relationships never lasted, and he always envied what I had. But I didn't see the warning signs. I didn't see the way they looked at each other when they thought I wasn't watching. I didn't hear the late-night texts, the inside jokes, the silence that felt too heavy when I walked into a room. Then one day, everything broke. Alina sat me down. She was pale, shaking. I thought maybe someone had died. But what she said? It killed me more than any funeral ever could. Ayan, I'm pregnant, but it's not yours. I couldn't breathe. I swear, the air left the room. And before I could even ask, she confessed. She and David had been sleeping together for months. It started by accident, whatever the hell that means, and turned into something else. Something that grew in the shadows while I was working overtime to pay our bills. My brother, my blood, had stabbed me in the back and left a baby behind as a souvenir. I didn't scream. I didn't hit anything. I just left. I walked out of my own house and disappeared for 2 days. No calls, no texts, just silence. Because in that moment, I realized I had no one. Not a wife, not a brother, just an empty apartment full of lies. But karma has a strange sense of timing. Just when I thought I had lost everything, life handed me something else. Something darker. Something I never saw coming. Do you want me to continue with what happened next? The shocking twist after David's death and how I ended up inheriting everything? I didn't speak to either of them for weeks. Alina kept calling. David even had the audacity to text me, acting like we could talk it out. Like this was a misunderstanding, not a betrayal that shattered my entire reality. I didn't respond. I moved into a friend's spare room and kept my head down. Worked during the day, cried at night. Yeah, I'll admit it. I cried, because the pain of being stabbed in the heart by your own family, there's no manual for that. And just when I thought things couldn't spiral any further, the universe hit me with something I never expected. It was a rainy Tuesday when I got the call. David had been in a car accident, a bad one. He lost control of his Mustang, the same one I helped him finance, and slammed into a barrier at 80 miles per hour, dead on impact. No alcohol, no drugs, just a stupid, reckless decision. I didn't know how to feel. I mean, I was supposed to hate him, right? And part of me did. But hearing he was gone, it twisted something in my chest. He was my brother. We had memories. We had blood. And no matter how much pain he caused, losing him still felt like someone had turned out the last light in a dark room. Then came the second shock. His lawyer reached out. Apparently David had written a will just 6 months before the accident. I didn't even know he had assets like that. But he did. Stocks, crypto, a small condo, some savings. Nothing crazy, but not small either. And guess what? He left it all to me. Not to our parents, not to Alina, me. I couldn't believe it. The same guy who slept with my wife, lied to my face, and ruined my life, still wrote my name down as his only heir. There was even a letter, just a few scribbled lines on a crumpled notebook paper, probably written after a few drinks. Ayan, I don't deserve forgiveness, but you're the only person who ever believed in me. I screwed up. I know that. If anything happens to me, I just hope you get something good out of this mess. I'm sorry. That letter punched a hole in my anger. Not big enough to fix everything, but enough to make me sit down and question everything. Why did he leave me everything? Was it guilt? Some twisted peace offering? Alina showed up to the funeral, alone. 6 months pregnant. Swollen belly. Hollow eyes. She didn't cry though. Not once. She just stared at the casket like she was seeing a ghost she helped bury. I didn't speak to her. She tried, but I walked away. A week later, she texted me. I don't want anything from the will. Just closure. But I wasn't ready to give her that. Because while the world thought the story ended with David's death, mine was just getting started. I now had access to his emails, his old phone backups, everything. And what I found in there? It changed everything again. I never planned to open David's old phone. I kept telling myself, let the past die, just move on. But something about that letter, about him saying I deserved something good from all this, it kept pulling at me. So one night I gave in. I went through his emails. At first it was just boring stuff. Random subscriptions, work messages, some dumb memes. But then I found an old thread labeled July 4th, emergency. That was the day Alina told me she was pregnant. And the email? It was from Alina. To David. She'd written, we need to talk. I don't know if it's yours. And I don't want Ayan finding out either way. My stomach dropped. That meant she wasn't even sure it was David's baby. And still, she let me walk out of that house thinking it was 100% his. I kept digging. More messages. More lies. Turns out, their affair hadn't started recently. It had been going on for over a year. They were together the night I was stuck at work on our anniversary. The night I found her acting weird, and she said it was just stress. David had been there. But then came the part that flipped everything upside down. David didn't want the baby. He'd begged her to tell me the truth. He'd offered to leave the country, to disappear if it would save my marriage. He even threatened to tell me himself if she didn't. That was 2 weeks before I found out. 2 weeks before she finally came clean. Suddenly, I saw it differently. Maybe David had been a selfish coward, but in the end, he tried to do the right thing. It was Alina who kept pushing the lie. Alina who controlled the story. Alina who played both of us like pawns in her drama. And it gets worse. I got a call from her sister, Mia. She and I had never been close, but after everything came out, she decided to come clean too. She told me Alina had always had this thing about security, about marrying for stability, not love. I was the safe bet. The one with the job, the house, the future. David, he was the thrill. When she got pregnant, she knew the kid could be mine. But in her words, and I quote, if it's David's, at least I won't be a single mom. Ayan won't abandon me. It wasn't just betrayal. It was strategy. Cold. Calculated. Manipulative. When I confronted Alina, she didn't deny it. She just sat there, crying, begging, saying she made a mistake, saying she didn't know who she was back then, that motherhood had changed her, that she wanted to make things right, but it was too late for that. I told her I was done. With her. With the lies. With carrying pain that wasn't mine to carry. I used David's inheritance to move out of state, bought a small house by the coast, started therapy, rebuilt my life, one brick at a time, and slowly, I started to feel free. Not just from her, or David, but from the version of myself that kept begging for love from people who didn't deserve it. Sometimes I still get texts from Alina. Updates about the baby. She named him Daniel, a name David once said he liked as a kid. Is the child mine? I don't know. I haven't taken the test, and maybe one day, when he's old enough to ask questions, I'll answer them. But for now, I'm choosing peace. Because in the end, the biggest plot twist wasn't that my brother got my wife pregnant. It's that he gave me a second chance, by losing everything himself. And I finally realized, what I inherited wasn't just his money. It was freedom. It was clarity. And it was the chance to start over. This time, without lies.